Today's lesson video is based on Physics 1501, May-June question paper, 2018 question 1. The question is based on kinematics. Let us start. Question 1 has mark allocation of 10 marks. The scenario says if you're driving through town at 12 meters per second when suddenly a ball rolls out in front of you. You apply the brakes and begin decelerating at 3.5 meters per second squared. How far do you travel before stopping? So looking at the pictorial form of this scenario, suppose this is the car, it's traveling this direction. Let's say from point A to point B. Point A is when you start applying the brakes, and then the initial velocity, it was 12 meters per second, and then we know that in order for the car to stop, it means the final velocity will be 0 meters per second. And then we have the displacement. We don't have the time, but we have the deceleration, which will be negative 3.5 meters per second squared. Remember, it's negative because it's on the opposite direction. The direction of the deceleration will be this direction. So the question, how far do you travel before stopping? Now we need to familiarize ourselves with the equations of motion. Remember, we have 4 equations of motion. For this particular question, we need to choose the suitable equation for answering this question. Now what we are looking for, that is question A, we are looking for the displacement. So let us look at those 4 equations of motion. We are looking for an equation that has all the physical quantities given from the scenario and also the physical quantity that you are actually looking for. So looking at the first equation, we have the final velocity, we have the initial velocity, we have the deceleration, but we don't have the change in time, and we are not looking for the change in time. The second equation, we have final velocity, initial velocity, we have the deceleration, and then we are looking for this. So we can use this equation. So from here we can simply substitute. Our final velocity is 0, initial velocity is 12 squared plus 2 negative 3.5, change in x. From here we can transpose this to the other side, and then we divide both sides by 2 multiplied by negative 3.5. So we are going to have change in x, or let me take it step by step. Transposing 12 squared, or we can find the value of 12 squared. 12 squared is equals to 144. So we have 2 multiplied by negative 3.5 is negative 7. Change in x is equals to, when we transpose 144 to the other side, it becomes negative 144. We divide both sides by negative 7. This will result into 1. 1 multiplied by change in x is change in x is equals to this negative will get rid of each other, and then 144 divided by 7 is 20.571 meters. So this is the answer to question A. Let us go to question B. Question B says that when you have traveled only half the distance in part A, is your speed 6.0 meters per second greater than 6.0 meters per second or less than 6.0 meters per second? Support your answer with calculations. So you are given a new data. Now it is impossible for us to actually answer question B if we don't know the answer, actually the correct answer to question A. So they are saying instead of 20.57, let us go to, so it simply means that the distance from A to B is 20.571 meters. So if this car actually travels half the distance, means from here up to somewhere here, half of 20.571 is the velocity at this point 6 meters, greater than 6 meters per second, or less than 6 meters per second. So we need to calculate. So in order for us to answer the second question, we need to start by dividing this distance by 2 to find half of this. So half of this is 10.286 meters. Then this is the new data that we have. So the car, it was moving at 12 meters per second, and then it travels from A to B. The distance is 10.286 meters. Deceleration is still negative 3.5 meters per second. We are now looking for VF. So we need to go back to the equations of motion, or we can use the very same equation. To a change in x. So we are looking for this, we have this, we have this, we have also this. So VF squared is equals to, our initial velocity is 12 plus 2 multiplied by negative 3.5, 10.286. Then from here we take the square on both sides. So VF is equals to square root of 12 squared plus 2 negative 3.5, 10.286. Then we get that VF is equals to 8.485 meters per second. Let me actually write it like this. So to answer the question, we are going to say the velocity is actually greater than 6.0 meters per second. That is the conclusion. Remember, the question was saying, is it less than, greater than, or equals to? Or we can write VF is greater than 6.0 meters per second. Another conclusion. That's it for this lesson video. This is Wahula HJ. Thank you very much.